Now, how to spook summer bucks may seem a little goofy, and it's not that really I want you to go out and spook your deer herd ever. That's not the point. The cool thing about spooking bucks during the summertime is that it really doesn't matter for what you're doing in the fall. This is a time of laziness. This is a time where you can afford to get in the woods, hang your stands, and work on trail cameras, work on food plots, do whatever you want, and you really have a very low risk of spooking bucks off your land permanently. So that's a really good thing. But at the same time, this is a great time for learning and actually looking at yourself and looking in the mirror sometimes and saying, what does my intrusion do when I'm in the land? And I want to bring this up because we noticed this on our new land in Minnesota. We're getting consistent pictures of some pretty big bucks. I think we have 7 or 8 that we've named. We name them because I have to refer to them to Dylan, to Diane, our boys, to friends, social media. And so it's more of a team effort. And it's, we've always, in the past, we have, going back to Diego in 2016, we had the kickstand buck. He was back in 2011, I believe. And so let's go and look. I had the Slick. He was a big 8-point back in that I shot with my daughter with me in 2005. So going back, we had Tall Boy back then. I think I shot him in 2006. He was a friend of Slick's. They hung out together. But great way to work on bucks as a team, name them. But what we're noticing this year, even though we have consistent buck movement, and some of the cameras are showing us the same bucks every now and then, we do notice when we're out hanging stands and making a lot more movement on the land than we would otherwise, because I have to get to know this land, then some of these bucks are disappearing for 2 or 3 weeks. And I feel when I look back at the cameras and analyze those photos that I'm actually intruding. I'm pushing those bucks off for 2 or 3 weeks. They eventually come back. They're in their lazy days of summer. And that's why it pays right now to be over analytical of your trail cameras as it relates to your intrusion on the land and just checking that out. It pays to be critical of yourself. It pays to do this during the fall too. There's a lot of people that, where'd those bucks go? They went nocturnal. Well, it's 4 days after you're on the land for a weekend hunt. The bucks don't return. And you're looking at cameras from 4 days after, 4 weeks after, they're gone. And you can always look back to that time you're on the land, and even though you're using some scent contraption machine and you're really paying attention to your access, your wind, whatever it might be, there was a huge impact for your hunt that weekend. Maybe it was that spiderweb of scent that I talked about in one of my recent videos where you're hunting 6 stands over a 3-day weekend, but you're not paying enough attention to where you leave your scent when you walk in and out of your stands, so that even though your scent is covered on stand, you're leaving a spiderweb of scent all over your entire land. And a lot of times that walk in and out scent is far worse than that scent that you've prepared for on a stand to blow in a direction you don't expect the deer to come. But bottom line, it's great to look in the mirror and not only analyze your cameras during the summertime, but analyze them during the fall, and be overly critical of ourselves. And that's how we learn. You always ask why. Why did this buck leave for 2 or 3 weeks? Well, look at your trail cameras. Maybe you find out your neighbor was hunting next door and they have a greater impact on your land because you have a food plot next to your neighbor or whatever it might be, or your favorite bedding area. And they're really impacting that area when they come into the land, and you can find that out. So this is a time we're actually putting out some trail cameras right now. I know that we can set these last few cameras of the season into spots where we expect to hunt them in the fall. And it's not going to bother them at all if we're spooking them. Hey, sorry to interrupt this video, but my web class series is finally begun. How to design your whitetail property is on my website, and there's a link in the description. Please check it out. Final question I want to leave you with is really ask yourself, be critical, analyze your pictures right now of the summer bucks, see how many you're spooking, maybe see where they go to, maybe see where they've gone to and when they get pushed back. But it's really important to look at yourself and say, if I'm spooking bucks away right now with my intrusions and putting plots out and doing whatever for 2 or 3 weeks, and I know not a lot of you are, not everyone out there is in a high pressure state like Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, New York, Indiana, Ohio. Some of you are more in those states where there's not a lot of hunting pressure, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, you can get away with a lot more. But when you get into these high pressure states, you can't get away with a lot. And ask yourself, if you're pushing bucks away from your land right now for 2 or 3 weeks at a time, what's that going to do during the hunting season? even if it was just the same. Now the summertime, it's lazy right now. Bucks don't feel overly pressured. They'll stand there and watch. How often do you see mature bucks out in the field in the middle of October at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, an hour and a half before dark, just feeding lazily? They don't. There's a lot more pressure applied to the woods by hunters, and bucks, especially mature bucks, start to pull back. But even right now, it's easy to push mature bucks off a summer parcel or an area where they're at during the summertime for 2 to 3 weeks. What do you think how long that distance is during the hunting season? Far greater impact. And even if it was just the same, can you afford to spook a deer off 2 to 3 weeks before the middle of the rut and not know if he's even going to come back or not know if you're pushing him to where someone else might shoot him? It's not like they're your bucks, but you can do a lot to manage the efficiency on your land and on your small parcel and make sure that you're tilting the odds in your favor. And one way to do that is really going back to the summertime, not only looking at where bucks might be moving during the hunting season during the summertime, trying to analyze those funnel points, those pinch points, those funnels, those constrictions, those thick habitat areas where you can expect to say, hey, the mature buck might be here during the summertime. But it's a great time to analyze your summer impact and intrusions on the bucks, where they leave, and relate that to fall. And really, when it comes down to it, you'll realize you have to be very careful and apply a lot less pressure than you may have thought otherwise. Not that it matters during the summer, but boy, if those bucks do the same or worse here in the fall, then we're all in trouble. You have to be very careful when it goes in the fall. This is a great time to start practicing, start honing your hunting skills of your impact as it gets into this hunting season. And I think if you do that and you really analyze your impact, it all boils down to hunting pressure and being critical of ourselves, and that'll make you a better hunter this season.